The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by ShootProof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 121. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. On last week's episode, we talked about how to become a Google trusted photographer, Adobe's new Creative Cloud subscription option, Pressgram, a photo sharing startup, and a valuable lesson for all event photographers. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
Hey, Joe, we are back. How you doing?
Good. Fantastic.
Another week, another dollar, right?
That's what they say. I think I'm about like 80 cents. I think.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not at the dollar yet. But when I grow up one day, Trev, I'll be at that wonderful dollar.
We'll just contribute it to the economy. That's all.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
So, big Apple news this week, huh?
Yeah. I mean, my Apple news is I got a new iPhone 5 because mine, wasn't doing so well. So, the new iPhone news is the 5S and the 5C. Can you imagine yet another, as expected, as slated, iPhone?
Yeah. I mean, looking at them, side by side, the 5S and the 5C, I mean, the obvious differences are the color. The 5C stands, I guess, for color. That's what I'm assuming. And they're coming in like these 5 pastel-y, kind of bright blue, pink, yellow, green colors and all. I definitely think those are geared more for the kids, the girls, the people who just really want that kind of bright and obnoxious kind of color scheme.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't walk around with a phone like that, but that's just me. I mean, I'm a 40-some-year-old man who,
who just cannot be seen with pastels or any type of bright color.
That's right. Now, my daughter, on the other hand,
definitely
or my wife
not speak to your manhood.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Now, the 5S, though, that's got the kind of the similar design that the iPhone 5 has. It's got the the metal band around the side. Now you can get it in black and white and the new color gold, which is kind of interesting, I guess, if you want to walk around with a gold phone.
Sure. It's not bad. Gold is, they had to do something new. It's always black, white, white. They went completely crazy, obviously, with the colored ones. I don't know. I it looks like it's more of the same. But then when you dig into the specs, it's no longer more of the same, right?
No, well, the 5S is a significant improvement over the 5. The processor is now using the A7 chip, which is fast. I mean, it's
64-bit, right?
It's 64-bit, and it's twice as fast as the iPhone 5, and that's really fast. I mean, I have no problems with my iPhone 5. I mean, I think from that standpoint, I think it's plenty fast. I mean, it's been able to do everything that I need it to do, app-wise, video, photography-wise, and just being able to navigate some of the more graphic-intensive apps. It's done a really great job.
Yeah, but you know what they were saying? 2 times the speed as far as the CPU goes, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And what's very interesting is now it has that coprocessor, the M7, that's basically offloading, it's a GPS, offloading all of the graphical computations, so to speak. That's what a GPS does, off the CPU. So, that's pretty powerful. I mean, I see this now all of a sudden as like a gaming machine, right? For, like a handheld gaming machine.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, during the keynote, they showed a chart, kind of a graph showing the speed of the iPhone. And as it, started out with the first one, of course, and then got up to the iPhone 5, I mean, there was a steep increase to the iPhone 5. And now it just went up even higher. It went up twice as high as what the iPhone 5 is. So from that standpoint, it's crazy. This M7, it's a motion coprocessor. So basically, that's pulling in your location data, your motion, as far as how you're moving the phone, the gyroscope, that they have in it, your location data, all of that type of stuff, and it's kind of offloading all of those processes that the apps require onto this other chip, freeing up the main A7 chip to do the other computations for your other apps and things.
It's like splitting the workload. That's
Splitting
now
the workload.
Don't
Yep.
Samsung and a lot of the other ones are coming out with Android phones that are like quad core beasts also.
I know.
So,
Yeah, we've talked
this
about
isn't
that.
revolutionary. It's faster. It's definitely noteworthy. It's 64-bit and all that.
Yeah.
But, there is other options out there that are extremely fast that are basically small computers, just like this is.
Right.
Basically. So, yeah, it's got a lot of, interesting features. I mean, for me, like the ones that really stand out is the photography stuff, obviously, right?
Sure.
The larger sensor, larger pixels, larger aperture, continuous burst modes, true tone, which is really cool, right, Trev? We were looking at that earlier.
Yeah, that true tone
that
flash is pretty cool. That actually has 2 LEDs now. It's got the more whitish blue one, and it's got a yellow tinted one. So what it'll do is when you go to take a picture, it will register the white balance in the scene and actually throw on, and power up that amber flash, that yellow, the amber LED to balance out, to neutralize the white balance more, which is really cool. Now, I know you and we're using these little light bricks. We've talked about these before when we record the show. And these light bricks have, the white and the amber LEDs in them, and that's how we balance out our color. Which works really nice. And now they're actually incorporating this into the iPhone, which is really cool. And then,
when you look at the back of that phone now, you'll actually be able to see the little yellow and the little amber lights, the little LEDs in the back.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Yep.
So the idea of being able to balance at the time of capture, I'm going to guess that it's actually doing two captures, bringing that in, getting that data, and then sending out the right amount of either amber or yellow to balance the image.
Right.
So it's probably using the two to kind of mesh them together to make a real neutral based on what quality or color or Kelvin the light is that it's receiving back into its quote unquote optic or whatnot. So that's pretty technological there. That is neat. I like that a lot. That's cool.
Well, that's it. Our light bricks here that we're using, they're not smart. We set them to the way we need them. This is smart. This is being processed, and the power is being delivered to these individual LEDs as needed to get the correct white balance. So, really cool. The fact that they increased the sensor size, which is nice, but they didn't up the resolution, the megapixels. What they did is increase the size of the pixel for a better quality image. That's smart. Exactly. That's right. Yeah. They kind of made the joke,
saying, right?
Yeah, they kind of made
megapixel wars and all that is like pretty much done.
Yeah,
it's like
Phil
give
Schiller,
me big pixels and give me good pixels, quality pixels. Forget about all the rest of the high megapixels. Also, the stabilization it has now, which is neat. We've seen stabilization in a lot of different cameras and a lot of different things. Not so much in the phones, but that really worked well. This supposedly is going to work really well. This image stabilization. That's going to be built in. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's kind of shooting multiple images at the same time. And it's basically picking and merging the images to create the sharpest looking one. So, and again, in the example they kind of show is, with kids, kids are notorious for moving around on us all the time. So, what it does is when you hit the trigger, it actually takes a couple quick shots and will grab the one that it thinks is the best, or I think it kind of merges them too, like through the
I think
through
so.
the technology
because,
to create that sharper image.
Yeah, when you look at the screen, there's a little button at the top that says HDR off, like when they took the picture.
Right.
So I'm going to guess they probably have HDR on as an option also.
Right.
So yeah, I could see it doing like some kind of high dynamic range thing, and then merging two to get the best light, number one, then merging the photos to kind of get them kind of meshed together. It's very easy to process images that are moving in comparison to moving, let's say, in a specific direction.
Right.
It's very easy to fix. But when you get this shake and it's all over the place, that's when the processor really needs to go nuts to make stuff happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. I mean,
it has slow motion, right?
the slow motion.
That was one of the cool things too.
I was just going to say, yeah, now in video, you have the ability to actually select a portion of your shoot to be slow-mo. So in the presentation, they showed this kid, running up and doing a flip and jumping into a pool. So they had the running up part in real time, and then the flip they knocked down to slow-mo. And it doesn't go from like 30 frames down to 5 frames where it looks stepped.
Right.
It's actually shooting at a much faster frame rate. So when you slow it down, you're slowing it down to that, 24 or 30 frames per second. So it looks natural. It looks smooth in slow-mo, which is really cool.
Very cool. You can see by the frame it says 120 FPS at the bottom. So I'm going to guess it's probably going to do a normal 30, and at 120 we'll be able to do quarter speed. So we'll be able to reduce it down to a quarter of the speed. So it would look really
look good.
neat. So and they're saying at 720p. Normally when you see cameras or anything start shooting at that higher burst speeds on video, what happens is the image size has to get smaller and smaller and smaller due to the amount of data that it's picking up. So I would imagine that if you start doing this for any lengthy period of time, we're going to end up with files that you're not going to know what to do with them. Because at 120 frames per second, they'll be 4 times the size as normal. Let's just say relative.
Right.
It'd be huge.
It would be huge
files.
Yeah, it would be huge. And they're also giving you a 3x zoom when you're in video, which is interesting too. We've been able to zoom with still photos. Now you're going to be able to zoom shooting video. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And kind of, all the other things are just basically more of the same that you see on many other,
More of the same, some nice improvements here and there. The other big thing that really stands out to me is the Touch ID. So the home button on the iPhone has actually now been replaced with a biometrics fingerprint scanner, which is interesting. So you think, biometrics on a mobile phone, that's bad news, right? They definitely made the point of saying that your thumbprint, your fingerprint scan is only stored on the phone in a small portion of the memory. It's not accessible by any applications or third parties. It doesn't get backed up to iCloud, nothing like that. So that made me feel a little bit better. Yeah, because I was like, oh, that's bad news.
Everything is going to go that way, Trev.
Yeah.
We're going to be retina, scans to thumb, prints. I mean, this is nothing new, this technology of biometrics. It's been around for years and years and years. Now they're incorporating it in a phone.
Yep.
Fantastic. I think it's cool. I think it's great. Cool. It'd be nice not to have to swipe and entering codes or all this stuff. It just knows, who you are.
Right.
So I mean, that's definitely neat. I tell you what, the phone itself in general looks like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is what happens with every iteration that Apple creates. It doesn't matter if it's the leading iteration when they went from a 3GS to a 4, or when they went from the 4S to the 5. They always make it into this huge thing.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that. But I tell you what, from my personal experience, I will not get the beginnings of these phones any longer.
No.
After after the mess that happened with the 5 that I have, they just replaced it. Matter of fact, the other day, which I alluded to at the beginning, we were talking about it. But I think I'm pretty much done with that. I think I'm going to wait for the second iteration of each model. So it'd be like, the
You'll
4S.
get the S model.
Yeah, and then I'll get like the 5S, and I'll get the 6S, and so on and so forth, or whatever they want to call it. But I just don't want to be that beta tester because now they're saying that, listen, we're going to discontinue the 5 altogether.
Yeah.
Normally they'll go sell it cheaper or whatever. Guess what? We're not going to do it. You can get a 4S if you want because we know that's quality hardware.
Yeah.
The 5, guess what? You can't even buy it anymore
Well,
once this releases.
That's really, that was kind of funny. And I actually paused the video and yelled at the screen when...
That's the writing on the wall, Trev, right?
So Tim Cook in his little dissertation there, he's coming up and he says, normally we take the current version of the phone and we reduce the price. Well, we're not doing it this time. Long, dramatic pause. Like everybody's like, ooh, what does that mean?
Right.
And he says, we're actually replacing the phone. I paused it and yelled at the screen, what are you kidding kidding me? You know? Yeah, they're replacing it because the iPhone 5 has defective hardware in it. You and I have both had problems with it. The Bluetooth doesn't work well with headsets. The speakerphone sounds like garbage. The headset, when you plug in, sounds like garbage. The only thing that remotely sounds good now is when you actually hold the phone up to your head.
And that I have problems with because I have a problem with my proximity sensor. So if you'd hold it up to your head, normally it should shut off.
Yep.
Mine would turn on and turn off and turn on, turn off, kind of like
Then you would tap the call in button against your cheek and you'd hang up. Yeah.
So
it was a mess, and they know it, and they're not going to come right out and say the iPhone 5 hardware, we've got problems with it. What they're going to do is while us iPhone 5 users are still under our 1-year manufacturer's warranty, they're just going to keep giving us the refurb phones over and over and over again, and then we're going to have to live with it for a year until we can upgrade. So
I tell you what, guys, if you have an iPhone out there, iPhone 5, and you have any problem with it, chances are if you bring it into Apple, they will replace it for you.
Oh, yeah.
Free of charge with a refurb because they know that there's a problem. So
they're not even going to question it.
Yeah, if you feel like there's a problem, just bring it in.
Don't even hesitate.
They don't even care. They even look at it. They're like, okay, yeah, you got a proximity problem. Here's a new phone. They gave me a brand new phone. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the hardware is faulty. There's too many problems with it that they couldn't rectify with these software modifications that they constantly do with firmware updates and whatnot. They couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
So they have to go into the meat and potatoes, fix the meat and potatoes, and then re-release. And now just completely, get rid of the 5 altogether. So, hey, I mean, we're all going to stumble, but this is a stumble. I think they're kind of picking it up or picking themselves up, pretty well. It could have went a lot worse. I don't hear a lot of negative commentary about it as of yet, but it's yet to be seen. This is a brand new story, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of along the lines of the new iPhone 5S Flash, there's a company called Nova that just introduced a credit card sized external flash unit for your smartphone, for your phone.
Flash-esque. Let's put these big air quotes around
Flash-esque.
it.
Exactly.
Because it's supposed to work on Wi-Fi, the Flash, or Bluetooth or something. I think it's Bluetooth, right?
Yeah.
It is Bluetooth. So that signal is not going to be able to shoot at a 200th of a second. It's just not going to happen. No. So we're guesstimating probably what it does is it probably turns the flash on for or the light for a short period of time, takes the picture, and then shuts it back off. So it looks kind of like a flash. But either way, it's kind of neat. Think about that. Having an external quote-unquote light or flash that goes off when you take the pictures, it has, 40 LEDs built into it. That's awesome.
That is awesome. That's more
probably
LEDs than what
ton of light.
Yeah, that's more than what our little bricks have that we're using right now. I think we've got 32 or something like that. So, the idea of it is pretty cool. Now in practical use, how are you going to use it? Are you going to, hold this thing up to the side while you've got your, iPhone up to your face and you're holding this over here, or is somebody else going to hold it, or you're going to put it on a bracket of some kind? I mean, there's logistics in there as how you'll use it, but the idea that you can use it is interesting. And that's what I'm thinking. It would probably be when you hit the shutter button down, it'll actually, to the eye, it'll look almost instantaneous, but it'll actually turn the light on. It will take a white balance and exposure reading. It will adjust the camera, shoot the picture, and then turn it off. And it'll all happen.
It won't adjust the light. It'll adjust the camera instead of adjusting the light.
Exactly. It won't adjust the light. Exactly.
What they're saying is iOS as well as Android, which is good. I like that. That's great. I like the idea of, color temperature adjustments. You can adjust the color temperature just like the bricks like we have here. So it's good. I mean, all in all, something to look at, Nova. So we'll put that in the show notes also. It looks of interest, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what we would say. So Sony goes ahead and releases an API, right? But get this, an API for Sony. You're like, an API? What is this? Mm-hmm. What would developers need an API for? For a camera? Yes. There's an API for a big, long list of, 8 or 10 of Sony's cameras that are those Wi-Fi enabled cameras. So people now, third parties, are going to be able to write applications to have control over, for example, the cameras like shutter or whatnot, right from your phone.
Yeah. It's really cool. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. Now that we're finding the Android operating system making its way into phones, into cameras, we just talked about the Magic Lantern hack a couple weeks ago. How there are firmware updates already for regular phones or regular cameras. So the idea here is that, now they're actually just opening it up, making it official to where people can actually start writing apps and adjustments and things for their devices, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, so basically it's the entire NEX or a lot of the later model NEX lines, the 6, the 5, the 5R, 5T, on and on. So it's interesting, definitely interesting. And we've talked about this in previous shows that eventually you're going to see a lot of these kind of like Sony and some of the people that can afford to do this, maybe Olympus or whatnot, put these Android-based, operating systems into the cameras and allow the programmers to do different things.
Yep.
Maybe not right now. It's like just controlling flash or controlling this or that or whatever. Maybe eventually be able to control the whole thing. All of the items right from your phone. There's a lot of possibilities with that. I think it's great. And as soon as whenever you get away from the quote unquote norm, where you have those standards that are like Canon or Nikon or whatever, where they're locked shut and that's it.
Right.
What happens is the time that it takes for them to iterate and come up with new features for these cameras, it's forever.
Yeah.
It takes forever. As soon as you open it up to the general populace or to these programmers, they're going to come up with a lot of neat stuff that you probably didn't even dream about. So, it's cool. It's definitely something interesting.
Well, open APIs are good for creativity and innovation. We see it with the iPhone, right? When they first released the iPhone and you had to become a developer and you started creating apps. Well, some of these apps that did really well, Apple kind of took notice and said, we should just add that right into our core operating system. Okay, so now that app developer is kind of out of business, but that's how innovation happens. So, as people start writing these really cool apps to control these Sony cameras and stuff, maybe Sony will step up and say, okay, this is really a great idea. Obviously, this is something the community wants. So maybe we should actually build it in to the software and hardware that runs our devices. So I think it's a great idea.
I think so too. So you have Olympus in the news also this week, which is interesting. Of course, another camera. That we're always the new camera is coming out. This one's kind of neat. We like the Micro Four Thirds. We think they're cool. We like that whole entire the small form factor, and they're getting better and better and better. The sensors are small, but it's like a small camera packing a big punch. I think I call it. It's 16 megapixels. It's the usual. 1 by 8 thousandths of a second, so you can capture extremely quick stuff. It's got a lot of positive features to it, and it's like something that's brand new this week, right? Yeah.
It's the EM1 is the model of the camera. Yep. So I don't know. Again, we like these small formats. Micro Four Thirds, though. That's a pretty small sensor. Right. I'm really liking the more the APS-C size sensors in these small mirrorless cameras. That's really more the direction that I'm interested in. It just I think it's
I think the whole industry. Absolutely. The whole industry is going to be going with the whole mirrorless and APS-C and then finally full frame eventually, I'm going to guess. But these were I think these are the transitional cameras, these Micro Four Thirds. They're trying to see what they can do in small packages and just constantly making new cameras because that's how they make money. Yeah. They're making new cameras. I mean, one day it's a red one, the next day it's a white one, and it's $5 less, and it's got one extra feature or one extra whistle and bell, and now they're selling it. So it's got a lot of cool features. It's something to look at. But once again, like what you're saying, APS-C, the mirrorless, this type of I think this is probably like you were just saying where it's going to end up going.
Yeah.
And now they're getting so small, Trev. The last camera we talked about that was a mirrorless was tiny.
Yeah.
With the ILC with the interchangeable lens. That was a couple weeks ago. That's really cool. So
I know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Always something to keep your eye on. When we see a piece of technology that really stands out, it's something we always like to mention it. And this is interesting. This is one of those cameras again that kind of the proving ground for this type of technology. So definitely something to keep your eyes open for.
Absolutely. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from a couple of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener. As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print. So Joe, we are back, and there is a new announcement, a new compact flash card that came in from SanDisk this week.
A really fat and beefy one, right?
Yes, a big monster one, a 256 gigabyte compact flash card.
You know how big that is? That is nuts. It's running UDMA 7. It's up to like 160 megabytes per second, which is just crazy. It's kind of interesting, like how big these things are getting. And I guess it's just the beginning to us seeing larger and larger and larger format video. I mean, you need somewhere to put the stuff, right, Trev? I mean, we're looking at 4K video. We were just talking about the iPhone, and they're running at 120 frames per second to do slow-mo. I mean, if a video is, let's say, 1 gig in size, all of a sudden it's 4 gigs because you want to do slow-mo.
Right.
I mean, you could see how we just eat through the gigs and gigs and gigs of data on these cards really, really quick. And 256 gig, that is a nice chunk. I like that.
Yeah, this card really is geared for the video user, and specifically moving into that 4K format. The file sizes are just so huge. I mean, I would never, ever recommend a card of this size for using for still photos. That's just asking for trouble, because what will happen is you'll put a year's worth of photos on there, and then the card will die, and you'll be SOL. So, this is definitely a video person's card. It's got what you need. I mean, it's got the storage capacity and
it's funny you bring that up, and that's a good tip that, if you guys are out there looking for cards and you're always looking for the bigger card, the faster cards, concentrate on fast cards because they will save you time in the studio downloading the photos. That's number one. Then secondary, focus on a fast reader. Whatever reader you can find, that's the fastest reader you can find, buy that. And then as far as the card size, buy smaller cards. Don't buy bigger cards if you're not shooting video.
Right.
It's better to use 6 cards for a wedding than use one.
One big,
because
huge
if that one gets lost or burnt or melted or out the window or wet or who knows what, you lost an entire wedding instead of losing 1/6 of the wedding. Which might not be repairable, but at least you have something.
At least you have something. I mean, otherwise they can retrieve data from these cards when they get jacked, but For
Not if it's lost.
yeah, but not if it's completely gone. I mean, they have special software. You could send it back to SanDisk or whoever the manufacturer is. There are other third-party services out there that do data recovery off flash drives, but you don't want to have to go through that.
Right.
I mean, if you had to send one card out of 6 out to be repaired, it's a lot better than just sending out one big, huge card that has the entire wedding. So definitely stay with the smaller capacity for sure.
Yeah, I think so. So we got ASMP warns this week, right? Warns all of us about, Facebook's new terms of service or whatever it is, and stuff that we continuously have to sign in on, sign here, accept here. And, it kind of gets to be old after a while. And I think this is what Facebook and the rest of them want. I think they want it to be, laborious, the lament. Oh my God, do I have to go through all this again and hit accept? Thank God there's, folks out there that are actually reading these things for us and then standing up for us and saying, hey, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Don't go any further.
Well,
and that's kind of what happened this week.
Yeah,
right?
That's it. I mean, ASMPC, they're on top of a lot of this stuff, especially the legal rights of photographers, your usage rights and things like that. And yeah, part of you can't help but think that Facebook just wants to make this so laborious, like you said, that we just cry uncle and just, fine, whatever. Just take my firstborn. I really don't care. I'm so tired of it, But luckily ASMP is looking out for it. And yeah, they were supposed to run these new terms out. They were supposed to be in effect by September 5th. Now they're delayed because there's enough of an uproar about it. And basically they're saying that, they want to have the right, again, to use your name, likeness, content, images, private information, and personal brand in advertising and commercial content without any permission or compensation to you. Yeah. Oh, click OK. I'll accept that.
Yeah, click immediately. But that's the skinny of it.
Yeah.
If you actually read it, it's probably like 38 pages long or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just a point. What do they need that for? If they really want to use something of yours, like in a commercial or something, you'd be happy to give it to them just to be on the commercial anyways. Just ask.
Yeah.
Throw the guy like, $5,000 just for doing it, or just something. Just to have this blanket policy. We have control over everything that is you, your likeness, your photos, anything that has to do with you, we have complete control over it. It's just I think it's just overstepping. To say the least, and in a court of law, it just won't hold up. I don't care. This all click, accept. Sometimes that stuff doesn't hold up in court either.
Yeah.
Just so we're all clear out there.
That's right.
Sometimes that, because when you're inundated with this on a regular basis, and you can show evidence that, you've received, 8 terms of service changes in the last 6 months or something, it gets to be after a while a little bit much. And then all of a sudden its worth in court, its value is reduced.
It is, because the judge knows, the court knows that people just can't possibly be expected to read through all of these pages and pages and pages of terms of service with every little change. Now, they may have changed one line in that whole terms of service. They're not going to tell you what they changed. They're going to make you have to read through it. Nobody's going to read through it. They're just going to click OK. But,
that's the game.
Something that was found in the section by section summary that ASMPC, I guess, pointed out, they were saying that Facebook is collecting information whenever you are using or running Facebook, which they, could be when you're actively on Facebook, or even when the app is open on your mobile in the background and you're not even using it. And, I think I've actually seen signs of that. Because, like all of a sudden the ads change when you get into your news feed. It's these sponsored stories and stuff come through. And it's like all of a sudden I'm getting a sponsored story around something that I possibly searched for or, clicked on another something else, and it makes you wonder, really how they are collecting this data. So that's a big concern too.
Yeah, just think about how they're doing it. The whole idea, we're always like, oh, cookies are dangerous and all that. They're circumventing cookies completely. They're just getting this data. If that app is running on your phone, chances are it's able to monitor or see what's going on, with, let's say, your Safari on the phone, or let's say whatever you're using, or maybe using a different brand phone than an iPhone or whatever. But the point of the matter is they can monitor and they have the ability to call home and send data or process the data inside of the package itself.
Right.
So, it might behoove us to use Facebook through their web app instead of downloading the application onto our phone to reduce that, because now you're basically left with cookies, and you can turn that off, and now all of a sudden it's less trackable.
But it's not as good as of a user
exactly.
interface, because
and that's what they want it that way.
They want it that way. They want you to use their mobile app. They don't want you to
Absolutely.
go to the website using Safari or Chrome on your phone, because they have more control over what happens through the app than they do on the website. It becomes out of their control. And so now it's coming through their website. So this week they also announced that they're going to be testing inline autoplay videos, which you and I kind of talked about. Yeah, you and I talked about this off the air, and it's kind of like, okay, let's see where this goes. Basically, so you would be looking at your news feed, you'd be scrolling down. If you're watching the screen now, we're going to put something up that actually shows this kind of in use. But you'll be scrolling through your news feed, and you'll come across a video, and then that video will kind of be playing, but with no sound. And then you actually would have to tap on the video to play the sound, and then it will start playing the sound.
And I think it goes full screen, I think, at that point, and you're watching that video, right?
Right, exactly.
Sounds all nice, right, guys? It sounds like, wow, that's great. I love that.
Right.
Well, now how about once they go through this beta testing and seeing how much we will take, how much we will allow, how much pressure
whether we will accept
they can, how much pressure they could put on us for acceptance. Can we now see all of a sudden, instead of just a video within our feed being able to do this, now all of a sudden there's a little ad that's already rolling at the bottom. It's pre-rolled, right? It's pre-rolling. No audio, but it's pre-rolling. You just flip your phone, all of a sudden it goes full screen, and there's your ad running full screen. The amount of data usage that's being pushed to the phones at that point, which would be at that instance hard ad data, would be just immense worldwide. And just think about this: marketers, advertisers are not allowed to call our phones, but at that point, Facebook would be allowed to push ads to our phones, and we would have to pay for that data usage.
Yeah.
So that's a sticky, slippery slope, I guess they say. That could get a little bit, I don't know.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, Facebook's outbound bandwidth is going to go through the roof with this type of thing. But they'll pay for it from the advertisers should this roll out. I mean, that's really what they're doing. They're testing it with personal videos right now. So if you, as Joseph Christina, wanted to upload a video of your family having a picnic to your timeline, you could do that, and your friends and family would be able to see these pre-rolling. Music, artists and stuff like that are verified. There's only a select group that they're testing this with. Will do the same thing. Right now, this is information. These are videos that we would actually care about. They're our friends. They're a music group that we're interested in. It's building that acceptance. Mm-hmm. They're pushing the content that we will gladly accept because it's from things that we're interested in or from our friends and family. Once we kind of get used to this, then what they can do is actually start rolling out the video ads. So from a marketing standpoint, awesome. Sounds great. To be able, as a business owner, me owning my business, to be able to let the community know about my web development and stuff, great idea. From a photographer's standpoint, to be able to let the community know about the work that you do, it's awesome. From a user standpoint, are we actually really going to want to see these video ads?
Amazing.
I don't know. Time will tell, right?
Time will tell. I don't know. It's the usual, Facebook gorilla. So we'll kind of see. There's people that are monitoring. Thank God for us.
Yes.
So
that's right.
Instagram adds, 50 million users in 6 months. That's a lot of users. What do you think?
Yeah, I know.
That's a bunch.
I know. So ever since Instagram's takeover by Facebook, they had the big terms of service faux pas like early on. That was rectified. Now
right. That was an ugly one, Trev. That was a bad one.
That was a bad one. Yeah, that was an ugly one. Then during this time frame, they rolled out Instagram videos, which was really cool. So yeah, I mean, they had announced back in February that they had 100 million users, and now 6 months later they have 150 million users.
So what do you think you can do with all of these new users? Let's sell them something,
Yeah,
right?
let's sell them ads. So here come
you
the
go.
ads. So next year they're saying that they're going to be rolling out ads in your Instagram, streams, and who knows how they're going to do it. I mean, are they going to pre-roll videos with ads? I mean, they're not saying yet, but
No.
when you've got 150 million users, that's a lot of eyeballs, and they're going to come up with a way to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. That's like Super Bowl numbers or something. I mean,
Oh.
this is just crazy numbers of people,
Yeah.
And I think what they're doing now before they, misstep, as the past showed, they got hit horribly. They're probably going to be a little bit more timid, before going forward with it. They're going forward with it, but they're probably going to be they're going to go in a little bit soft.
Yeah, hopefully more cautious, hopefully less intrusive. Hopefully it's not going to be pre-roll. I mean, if you've got an Instagram video that's 30 seconds long and you've got a 30-second pre-roll of a commercial in there, that's not cool. That's not going to work for me.
I mean, look at YouTube. YouTube's got some pre-roll ads that they dump into content, especially to content providers channels that go anywhere from 5 seconds on up to 30 seconds. Some of them are like a minute. They're like forever. You think that the ad's never going to stop.
And I don't know many people who really like those ads. I mean, there are going to be the funny ads in there that catch your attention every once in a while, and it makes it less painful.
Right.
But I don't know many people that really enjoy watching those ads and watching those pop-ups over the video screen and stuff. I know I don't. I mean, I clear them out all the time. I wait for that 3-second mark where I can skip the ad, and I know, you know what? And honestly, Joe, I'm sure there are people who skip through our ads.
Absolutely.
Because they don't want to listen to them. But, that's just a fact. That's just the way it is.
That's the way it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, Trev, the last time when you were down here, when we were doing a fashion show together, we were doing a shoot, I took you to a little store.
Yep.
Which just opened like 6 months prior, which I was so excited about. And it was the Hasselblad store. the Leica store.
Yeah.
And that was like, to me, that was like candy because, I love me a Leica, but I also love Hasselblad.
Yeah.
And now we just saw an article come through that Hasselblad is finally, for the first time ever worldwide, going to open up an actual retail establishment. Can you imagine it?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, it's like a Ferrari dealership,
I know, but you can't touch.
I mean, the Ferrari dealerships are not all over the place. I mean, they're in a few select areas. I mean, I certainly don't have one where I live. You go in New York City, there's Ferrari dealerships, all kinds of stuff there. But yeah, you can't.
We have them here in Palm Beach, lots. We got Lamborghini, Ferrari,
exactly,
Maserati. We have a whole bunch of different.
So for a photography enthusiast or professional, I mean, being able to go into a Hasselblad store and look at the toys they got in there. I mean, that would be really cool. I mean, most people will never see these $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 cameras in person, or let alone get a chance to hold one or shoot one.
Yeah.
So having a store is kind of cool. I mean, it's in Japan, and
right.
It's like
so you still have a little bit of a trek for us to get.
Yeah,
there.
a little bit of a ride. Yeah, I don't think we'll.
But at least they're doing it, Trev. That's pretty. That's pretty cool. I mean, when you hold, guys, if you haven't held a Hasselblad, matter of fact, the shoot that we were just talking about, we used, I think it was like a 4D or something.
Yeah.
Medium format. The Hasselblad, they just have like a meaty feeling to them. They're good. The bottom line is they're cool. They take great photos. The glass is just stellar.
Yeah.
It's just
high-end
amazing.
glass, for sure.
High-end glass. $12,000 for like a 50 millimeter, crazy numbers. But the bottom line is this stuff is just absolutely beautiful. And to actually hold them and play with them and touch them, the same thing with the Leica store that I took you to.
Yeah.
It's just nice to be able to look at this high-end, well-machined, crafted, camera instead of all of this plastic, just,
that you see in Walmart, right? You go into Walmart, you've got a whole aisle full of all these little plastic point and shoots and the low end DSLRs and stuff. I mean, that's what you see and that's what you can touch on a regular basis. You're not really touching $30, $40, $50,000 Hasselblad. So
Yeah.
cool. Absolutely. Maybe the next time we're in Japan, we'll check it out.
Yeah, we take a trip.
If we have any listeners in Japan, go check out the store. Let us know what you think about it.
I know, right? It should be opening soon. So yeah, that's interesting. Talking about listeners out there, if we have any listeners that will be in NYC for Photo Plus Expo, guys, listen, contact us. We've put it out there in the past, but we have finalized arrangements.
Yep,
with the powers that be. We have everything in the works, and we're definitely a green light for going for NYC. So definitely contact us if you want to see us, meet with us. Maybe we'll do some type of meetup or meet and greet or something.
Yeah,
we love to hear from you guys. So if you're definitely going to be in New York, contact us. Send us comments.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be at the show. We'll be in New York City on Thursday, Friday. We're heading back out on Saturday at some point. Not really sure exactly when. But we'll definitely be down at the Photo Plus show floor Thursday midday to afternoon to close, and then at some point on Friday as well. Exactly what time we'll get there, we're not really sure. But yeah, I mean, definitely contact us if you're going to be there. We'd love to meet with you. Maybe we'd hang out. Maybe even get a group of people, go grab some dinner one night or something too.
Yeah, we might be wandering around. Might do a few interviews. Ad hoc. And normally, if you guys have followed us for over the years, we've actually had a booth there and did full live coverage from Photo Plus Expo from NYC,
which was a lot of work, bro.
It was a ton of work. But we've done that too. So we might do some we'll do some small interviews possibly. We'll see. We're kind of gonna play it by ear.
Yeah, our weekly show will definitely be done from New York.
Right.
To how extensive we're going to get into the interviews and stuff like that, we're really unsure. We'll definitely meet with a few people and do some quick chats and stuff like that. But it's not going to be like what we've done in the past. It's just that's a ton of work, and honestly, we're already doing a ton of work, and I don't really want to add any more to the list.
I know. So all right, we need to get out.
Yes. So Joe, if people want to connect with you outside of Digital Photography Cafe, what's the best way for them to reach you?
You can find me at Twitter. That's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Yes, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
Awesome. So we've come to the end of the show. You can get all of these notes for this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/121. And don't forget to send your questions and comments to comments@digitalphotographycafe.com or simply call 440-345-6707. Once again, that's 440-345-6707. And we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.